need you to understand. There's not much time. If you knew how you were going to die, you knew how you were going to die. How would you live your life differently? How would you live your life differently?
All right, Bryce, we got a year off. We got a year off in 2020, but now it's back. E3 proper. No, it's I'm gonna say right now, it's back in quotey fingers. It's quotey fingers back. E3 2021 is a real quotey fingers of a year of an E3. But they did have conferences. They did make announcements. It was all under one banner, and that means that it's time to start the eternal hell cycle of 1 billion Rage Select podcasts. You're lucky that you only have to do 3 of these. I've got like another 9 after this to do so.
There were a lot of conferences, and it was also it also felt really weird because it's not the usual Monday through like Wednesday schedule that it normally is. It was like it started back on Friday, and it now it's Wednesday.
It was really weird. But welcome back to the, I don't want to say Rage Select podcast. It's like the E3 wrap up, and I'm not even doing it. I used to do it, like I used to delineate it by days, but this time I split it up so that everybody got like some good stuff and then some of the stuff which may be considered not quite as good. Because I originally, I think I was like, Bryce, we're going to do like Ubisoft.
We're going to do 9 of them.
Namco.
A lot.
The PC gaming show, like just all the word wholesome direct, like I mean, but no, we're gonna do these, and we're not even gonna do them in chronological order. We're gonna do Xbox, we're gonna do Ubisoft, we're gonna do the PC gaming show, probably real quick at the end. And then, as I was saying to Bryce before we started, this year I don't want to have to do 18-hour podcasts. So, like, you know, here's what I'm going to tell you right now.
We're double timing it, everybody. We're double timing it today.
Yeah, we clicked in the L3 button. Forza Horizon 5 was the end of the Xbox show. It looks like a Forza game. Like, I don't really know what else to say about it outside of that. Like, I like the Forza Horizon series, but it just kind of looks like another Forza Horizon game with a new setting and a fancy graphics. So, before we jump into it, though, Bryce, how is what I feel like I've been going a mile a minute here. How's your E3 2021 been?
You know, last week I think I tweeted something to the effect that I was not going to really glom onto E3 this year, and then I ended up watching. I watched the Xbox conference live and the Nintendo one. I ended up watching more than I said I was going to, but I haven't been really got my claws into it. So I'm actually doing okay by waiting for other people to tell me the cool stuff that they saw.
Right on. It's definitely been, I think that like this year, I think it depends on what you want. Like, what I want out of E3 is an announcement of a game that I didn't know about with like, and the best one is a game you didn't know about and it's coming out before the end of the year, right? The God tier, the triple S tier is here's a game you didn't know about and it's out today, but we didn't really have, I think it was like 2 games that came out over the course of E3.
Right.
But there's still a lot, and we should jump into Xbox because Xbox did have one of the meatier conferences.
Yeah. Really, the fact that they branded it the Xbox / Bethesda showcase just shows like how immediately that acquisition boosted their roster of software.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a weird mixed bag though, because it's almost like, you know, I guess this is one of those things to maybe talk about briefly is that, like, you know, when you graft the Bethesda conference onto the Xbox conference, this conference is an hour and a half long, but there's like, you know, here's the updates for Fallout 76, here's the updates for Elder Scrolls Online, like here's the new Forza game, and so it's a truly mixed bag with Xbox because there's just a lot. There's a lot going on in here, and not all of it is really. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on how into like Halo you are.
I mean, we're not so far away from the E3. I guess 2 or maybe even 3 years ago, where Microsoft announced all of the studios that they bought. Like they are still going to have this kind of software problem. At least maybe they're over it. This talk of doing a new big game on Game Pass every month. It sounds like they are successfully buying their way out of the no games problem.
Yeah, definitely. And the least surprising thing that I feel like everybody knew about. I don't know, half surprising, half not surprising. They kicked it off with Starfield with not like a gameplay trailer, but just kind of like a cinematic trailer that had this this kind of working man's space thing, and the character gets into the cockpit, and they've got a release date. It's going to be 11/11/22. So there was a pretty big rumor that was going around that Starfield was going to be out this year, but it's going to be next year. And then I think the one of the biggest things is that this is going to be in console exclusive to the Xbox. It's going to be Xbox and PC, but it is not going to be coming out on the PlayStation 5. At least not. I don't know if this is one of those like fully exclusive or if it runs out after a certain amount of time, but like even if it does come out on the PlayStation, it's going to be a Microsoft game out on the PlayStation, like so.
Yeah, and like Starfield in particular is kind of in question because this game's been in development for a little while, kind of like the time loop thing, where time loop will, if it's not Starfield, Deathloop.
Yeah.
Deathloop? Deathloop will be a Microsoft branded game, being a PlayStation. Is it a PlayStation exclusive or just it's on a PlayStation?
It's good. I think I'm just not entirely sure because it actually takes a lot of finagling these days to figure out, like, is this a timed exclusive? Is this a full exclusive? Like, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure. What do we think about this trailer, though? I mean, all we really know about this is I've heard Skyrim in space, which, to be honest, I mean, like, that's right up my alley. I like space. I like Skyrim. But I feel like a lot of these, I feel like this is maybe the same thing that happened last week with me with the Elden Ring trailer. This is a fine trailer. I think it gives us some interesting stuff to look at, but like, we really should.
It's not indicative,
right? This could be, apparently it's gonna be first person and third person, but like without seeing or first person or third person the way that the Elder Scrolls or Fallout games are. But without really digging into the nitty gritty systems, what we've really got here is like a style trailer, right? Is that it's kind of got
it feels like a realistic sort of vibe. Like, I was surprised how much all of this felt like close enough to what our rocket technology is today versus, you press a big red button and you VTOL up and you start like it actually felt like a NASA or a SpaceX type of launch.
Yeah, a little closer to modern day than near Mass Effect's your far future. Even something I think like the Outer Wilds, like it's a little bit more grounded than that. Like it feels like it's trying to be more realistic. But I don't know. I mean, the thing is that it seems like they've been working on this for a long time. I'm excited for this. It's just that this is one of those, it falls very much into the category when you've been playing games for a long time. I'm just like, that's great. Show me what the game looks like. Like I was already, you said Skyrim in space. I've been working on it. We've been working on it for 10 years. I was already bought in at that point. Show me what it actually looks like to play the game. Like, you talk your way out of situations. Is it more shooty? There's a mech in the trailer that we see briefly. Like, I don't know.
And it's Skyrim in space, but the voice, there's some dialogue in the trailer that makes it sound like it's humanity going out and looking for possible, like charting the universe. They said something during while he was talking about it as being the beginning of a universe, right? And that makes me wonder what the scope of this game is. I think it helps that we don't know a lot about this game, and it creates this kind of rose-colored idea. But I think, I don't know, with space you kind of want to create a universe, right? But then you kind of have to keep your scope down, like Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds, yeah.
I'm like, there are planets that you can go to, but it's not a whole big thing. And that is Skyrim or that's Fallout in space.
Yeah.
So how does it look different? How does it feel different? And because we saw later that they announced an Outer Worlds 2, so we now have these two Fallout or Skyrim in space universes going on.
Right.
And they're both trying to expand. It's so nebulous.
It also, while you were describing it, it also kind of reminded me of No Man's Sky a little bit, where it's like you see this stuff and it's just like, well, are we going to go to a million different planets? Like, are we going to have procedurally generated, or is it going to be like Outer Worlds where there's discrete bespoke areas, or is it going to be more of like a driving around the Mako, type of thing where there's some crafted areas and then some kind of interstitial lighter stuff between with like vehicle stuff? It's all kind of a mystery right now. And I know before anybody ats me, like there was actually like an interview with Todd Howard. I mean, there was an interview with like Miyazaki about Elden Ring and stuff. I haven't gotten into any of that. It's possible that some of this stuff was gone into a little bit further there, but this is just kind of first impression stuff. I don't have time to run down a billion stories. From there, we got a long trailer for Stalker 2. Yeah.
So long.
This is one of, I think, like 4 or 5 different like Russian themed first person shooter games that I saw at E3 this year. And the world of Stalker. I have a hard time getting into Metro, and I tried to get into Stalker a bunch of times. And there's something about these kind of Russian, first person shooter kind of survival, very dingy, very low tech, very kind of grim and gritty stuff that my brain a little bit bounces also off of. Nothing looks wrong with this. It's like, if you're into Stalker, I'm sure that this looks amazing. I'm just not as into Stalker. Not for lack of trying, but I just, there's something about these weird kind of Eastern European RPG shooter survival mechanics games that I don't know. Maybe this is the one, though. I mean, it's gonna be on Game Pass, so I'll download it and try it out. But I don't know.
I wonder how I wonder how much like the impact of a Stalker 2 being announced so far after the first one gets tempered, because those Metro games have been coming out pretty regularly. Not to mention any number of other Russian style survival shooter games like this, mid-apocalypse games.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, obviously, everything in this trailer was very set up, and like we're not seeing a kind of. And that is one of the things I think that we kind of miss a little bit with the lack of the stage show, is that every so often in a stage show, we're more likely to see a developer pick up a controller and play, even if it's a segment of the game that's been very tailored, but like it gives us a little bit better feel. I mean, I always think that you can find out more about a game just by looking at like the HUD, right? Like, or like if they bring up a menu or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. It's just, it doesn't exactly... It's not like, I'm not like, oh shit, my game of the year 2021 is gonna be Stalker 2, because I tried 3 times to play Metro, the last Metro game, and I got about 65% of the way through the last time, and then was just like, nope, I'm done here. This stuff we can go through pretty quick, because from there we got Back for Blood, which is a very well-known quantity. I think that this might have, was this the first time that they showed that there was like, you can play as the zombies, that there's like an adversarial thing where somebody can play as the or whatever they're calling them, the infected or the horde or whatever.
Or
maybe I'm even thinking of a different thing.
But yeah, you could do that in Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So I guess, I mean, this is the first time they've said it, I think, but I feel like if everyone's been calling this a new Left 4 Dead, that might have been assumed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they had Warner Brothers had a whole quote unquote conference where they didn't have Hogwarts, they didn't have Suicide Squad, they didn't have Gotham Knights. All they had was Back for Blood. It was like on the schedule, it's like a 30-minute quote unquote conference, and all that was on it was this game. And I don't think I need to know more about this game. I get what this is. This is just Left 4 Dead. Like, everybody wants a new one.
Characters.
Yep.
More maps, more guns. Cool.
Yep.
Like, let's do it.
Yep. Have a Left 4 Dead. And then speaking of not knowing stuff, the next thing that we saw was Contraband, which is a new game from the Avalanche.
Avalanche.
But it was very unclear exactly what was going on here. It was kind of a zoom through the scene of
like a freeze frame of a scene of a smuggling operation, I would assume from the title. It's just this fly through, so there's only so much.
It's really weird. There's this kind of weird chest at the end. I don't know if they're planning on doing some kind of I don't know if they're planning on doing some kind of supernatural thing, or if it's just going to be gritty, or like what the deal is. I don't know. Hard to say with this one. Like, it looks interesting. I mean, I like Avalanche well enough, but again, this is another one of those where this is fine and all, but I'm not even really. This is so abstract. I'm not even getting what the hell this game is. Is it a driving game? Is it a shooting game? Is it a RPG? Is it
a heist? Is it Just Cause? Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Can you put rockets on chickens and make them fly away? I don't know. I mean, it says it's open world, but yeah, from there, we got a lot of Sea of Thieves, a pirate's life, which is fascinating to me because it's like a spin-off campaign with the Pirates of the Caribbean in Sea of Thieves. You've got your Jack Sparrow and Captain Barbossa, and they're quipping, they're doing their pirate quips, and here comes Johnny Depp sound alike, or Johnny Depp, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good Johnny Depp sound alike.
Yeah. Which, is fine. I still wonder, somebody asked if I'm going to go back and play this, and the thing is that I have Game Pass, Sea of Thieves is on there. This is a free content update. Why not? Go check it out and see. The biggest problem I've always had with Sea of Thieves is that all the rewards are just cosmetic. So it's not like you can earn a better ship or a better gun or a better sword. You just earn different hats. That's how it was early on. Like, now they've done so much, I don't know if it's different now, but it made doing the quest weird because what you ended up with was essentially currency to trade into vendors to get better hats. And it was like, well, that's fine, but I want to trade it in for cooler looking ship. So
yeah.
Have you ever done Sea of Thieves, Bryce?
No, I haven't, because I don't have Game Pass on the PC. I had it for like a few months for Horizon 4, but no, I never got into Sea of Thieves. But I like watching my friends play it. It's it seems like a cool looty sort of, or not looty, but kind of grindy co-op game.
Yeah, is it on PC now too? Can you play it on PC as well? Do you know?
I believe so.
Okay.
I thought so.
Okay.
I would be surprised if not.
Yeah. So from there, let's see. We got a quick montage of Yakuza showing that Yakuza Like a Dragon
with an English dub.
Yeah.
Did Yakuza have an English dub?
I actually watched a whole bunch of videos about how Like a Dragon, they did a lot more work on the English dub than they had done previously. But yeah, they announced cool. All the Yakuza games are going to be on Game Pass, and Like a Dragon's going to be on Game Pass. Did you I think you, like last time we talked, like I get the impression that you kind of petered out on Like a Dragon eventually. Did you get all the way to the end of that?
Yeah, I did fall off a bit. I would like to go back because I enjoyed it, but I won't. I don't. And those games get so long. I really don't know if I'm like where I am in the story. But
yeah,
it's cool, and it's having grown up with this, I don't know, with the Yakuza series always being like a cool thing that you kind of can't play because it's a foreign import.
Mm-hmm.
Now that like all of these games are very faithfully in HD and on like a Game Pass,
yeah,
it's very surreal.
Yeah. Yep. The only one that there's Dead Souls hasn't made it over yet. And then the PSP,
the historic ones.
Oh, and the historic ones, yeah. But I can't wait until we see the announcement of Like a Dragon 2, because we know that Judgment 2 is happening, and I read an article where they said that Judgment is going to be the third person action one, and then the Like a Drag or the Yakuza moving forward is going to be turn based. And I'm like, great. They're all great. I love all my Yakuza babies, and I love Judgment too. So I am less in love with Battlefield 2042.
I need to know your thoughts on this because I've never played a Battlefield game, and I was kind of confused watching this.
Tell me what confused you. What were you confused about?
I couldn't tell if this was multiplayer or co-op or a campaign mode, and I haven't played a shooter. I haven't played a multiplayer shooter in a very long time. So if it's not captured the flag, I'm a little. It's Greek to me.
So Battlefield 2042, as we found out last week, will have no single player campaign. So this is all multiplayer.
Okay.
This appears to be. I mean, I would assume it looks like it could be Conquest, which is the thing where you capture points, and then every time somebody dies, it counts a timer down. And if you don't have the majority of points, there's a counter. The same counter goes down, and then whenever the counter goes away, you lose. But Battlefield, this is very Battlefield. What you're seeing is this mixed vehicle combat, infantry combat. You know, there's like some grapples, there's some wingsuits. Like there's one point, I believe, where they go up the building to the roof, and then they jump off the roof. A lot of this stuff is actually in a lot of the current Battlefields, or I'm pretty sure that Battlefield 4. Now, one of the things that we see here is the being able to switch out attachments on the fly, which is a new thing. But I mean, I don't know. I talked about this a little bit last week when they announced Battlefield, but like it looks like more Battlefield that looks better. And there's some stuff that they're doing that's different, but not that much different, because you can't.
Is there normally this many players on these maps? Because this map looks huge, and this is a ton of people to me.
So that is one of the things that's different about this one, is that on the previous gen consoles, I believe it's going to be 64 players, 32 on 32, but on the next gen consoles, I think they said it's going to be 64 on 64, like 128 person matches, which I don't even know how you fucking display a scoreboard for a 128 person match. I mean, you know, it all looks like very Battlefield. Like, it's all very polished. It looks like there's a lot of, you know, the guns and the vehicles and switching stuff out. I mean, Battlefield hasn't done it for. I've tried so hard to get into Battlefield or Call of Duty, and I just don't get the enjoyment out of killing the other people that other people do. But you know, it is interesting to look at this, though, in comparison to the way that right now Call of Duty is very much. The Warzone map has been remade in the 80s. The last one was the Black Ops Cold War, was all 80s themed. And this is 2042, which is supposed to be very near future themed. So it looks like they're not trying to go head to head the way they were with Battlefield 5, I believe it was World War II. So it was very much around the time when Call of Duty was also kind of going World War II. But I don't know. There's these really extreme weather patterns that are going on, which seem like they're interesting, but there have been maps before that have giant things that happen from time to time, depending on how it goes. I don't know. Have you ever, like, I guess the question, I don't know if I know this about you, Bryce, is have you ever been into an online competitive first-person shooter game?
No.
The
most I have ever probably played was maybe for like a month playing Battlegrounds as it was getting popular, and like a little bit of Fortnite, but I'm completely outclassed, and so it becomes not fun for me. But that trailer was very. I'm usually not like obsessed about trailers, but that trailer we kind of been watching it on loop, but it's like very exciting. I don't know. It seems cool to me, but I still would never play it.
Let's see. From there, we got another trailer for 12 minutes, which is that time loop game with Daisy Ridley and James McAvoy and Willem Dafoe, which looks fucking cool, and I want to play it. I don't think there's anything else here that we haven't already seen before. Let's see. Then we got Psychonauts 2, which that's one that I've never played any of the Psychonauts games. So I'm hoping that this one,
Oh, really?
lives up to the hype because it looks very creative.
I think they just remastered the first one, I want to say, or at least maybe ported it forward or something. But Psychonauts is relatively available, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll say the mystique of Psychonauts 2 is starting to wear off as we continue to see a lot of very informative trailers on what this game looks like.
Yeah.
And it's still not out yet.
And it's just kind of gotten to that, like, fucking get on with it. Like, put it out already. Yeah.
But okay, August is pretty soon, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I feel like that's, like, again, one of the themes of E3 this year is, I mean, like, you have already sold me on Psychonauts. You don't need to waste time showing me a trailer for it. Let's see. I believe from there we're into, this is like the, so I sent you this recap, and like it leaves a few things off. So the Doom Eternal is getting an Xbox update to make it faster and ray tracing and all that stuff. Fallout 76 got a new trailer for this Steel Rain expansion, which, I mean, okay, cool. Like,
well, you gotta have the Brotherhood. Like, we got to play all of the hits,
Yeah.
Jeff. You're just not allowed to not have one of this. And like, okay, yeah, all right.
Bring back Caesar's Legion, you cowards. Come on, quit leading on the Brotherhood of Steel. There are other baddos in this universe that just, like, well, I don't know. Because
Or make something friggin' new.
Well, yeah, sure.
I don't know.
Ghoul Uprising, ghouls in power armor. Yeah.
Remember ghouls?
Yeah. Yep. Sure. Let's see. This is when we got the Elder Scrolls Online update and the Elder Scrolls Online update, which is basically just like there was a new expansion that came out not that long ago. Go play it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. From there, we saw... this is really interesting. This okay, Party Animals made me wonder, like, is it possible to just sue another developer for completely taking what you did and making something else out of it? This is just Gang Beasts with a different coat of paint on it. Like,
It's just Gang Beasts. It literally is Gang Beasts.
Yep.
It's a game that has been out and in development for a very long time. It made me wonder if, like, oh, maybe they got bought out and they, but I don't think that's what's happening. They just made their own Gang Beasts.
I
even play as little animals.
I looked it up and I don't think I saw. I mean, it's possible that if you dig, you might be able to find something, but I didn't see anything that was like, oh, one of the guys that make Gang Beasts split off and formed his own company and they're making this new party game. And it's just like, this is just Gang Beasts, man. I mean, like, it looks fine because Gang Beasts is fun, right? So. Yeah, it's just Gang Beasts with little furry animals instead of the little weird blobby men. But yeah, it's just fucking Gang Beasts. I don't know. It's really weird. It's really strange because this came up and everybody in my chat was just like, it's fucking Gang Beasts. And it was like, yep, that's what it is. I don't know what else to say.
It looks like Party Animals is by Recreate Games.
That's an unfortunate name.
And it looks like they are possibly based out of China.
Okay.
But I don't see any other previous games that they've made on here. So that's a very strange. It's very strange.
It's very weird. It's very bizarre. Let's see. From there, we got the news that Hades is going to be on the Xbox. That's great. That's cool. I love Hades so much. I want everybody to play Hades. Hades is the best. Hades.
So good.
Somerville, I think, was the next thing that happened. And this was one of those ones where I kind of got it wrong. I didn't realize that one of the, was it like Playdead, the studio that made Inside and Limbo, that one of the guys from Playdead left and started the company that's making this Somerville game. And it shows because it looks a lot like Inside or Limbo, except you've got like a whole family. There's some kind of invasion or cataclysm going on, and it's kind of trying to survive, but it seems like it looks an awful lot like Inside with a whole family instead of just the one kid, just in general art style.
I'm surprised that there haven't been more games trying to do doing an Inside. Like, go for it. Like, it's a very there aren't as many copycats as you would think for such an interesting format for a game.
Yeah, I think like Little Nightmares is kind of has a little bit of that DNA in it. And I've played a few, like there was a Square Collective game back when they had their indie studio that was like this. It had a robot on the front. It had a red and black art style that was, I feel like, very similar to that stuff. But you're right in that usually when there's something that's as beloved as, Inside and Limbo, where you just have so many copycats. So let's see. From there it was a big Halo. We got the big Halo. So this is divided up into two parts. There was a little bit of the story, which was mostly this kind of non-interactive cutscene where Master Chief, oh, he's so cool. Bryce is so cool. He's bad. He's got one bullet. That's all I need. I'm Master Chief. And then so it's like Master Chief being cool in Zero G for a minute, and then like 3 minutes worth of him talking to an AI about Cortana, because apparently, like,
She's not Cortana. She's like she's Cortana's sister or something.
Yeah. I was a little taken back, not taken aback, but I was impressed at the facial motion capture on this hologram lady. It looked really good. Like I feel like they did very good facial capture. I guess you only have to do it for one person, right? Because everybody else in the Halo universe is either an alien or has a helmet on. So, but she had some good kind of, like, her face expressed a lot of emotion and stuff. It's funny because I think, was it last year where they showed the single player campaign and there was that huge blow up where everybody was like, this looks like shit. And I was like, does it? I think it looks fine. It's just Halo, man. Like,
I was not a Halo guy, but I think it's a good sign that we didn't see any gameplay footage of the campaign of this new Halo this year, because that signals that they are in the midst of doing major surgery to try to meet everyone in the middle.
Okay. And then, of course, I forgot that the last few Halos, everybody's kind of hated the campaign for anyway. We also saw the multiplayer, which I was reading an article where there's a bunch of guys from it was like PC Gamer or something that were just, oh my God, it looks so much like Halo multiplayer. I can't believe how much like Halo multiplayer it looks like. That's great. And it's just like, yep, it's kind of the same thing that happens to me with the Call of Duty 2042, where it's like, this trailer looks an awful lot like what it looks like to play Halo multiplayer. If there's somebody else who could probably tell you more nuance about, like, oh, well, they've retooled the handling on the Warthog this time so that it drifts like it did in the third one and not like it did in the fifth one. But I don't have any of that information. It looks like a big buck wild scrum, capture the flag, blowy stuff uppy.
I think they're trying. I think they're trying to say Halo's back.
Yeah.
With every part of this game's release, and that means just reminding people that it's fun to play Halo with your friends and not getting bogged down on the technicals, at least here on this stage.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it's worth noting that, I mean, I don't think we actually knew this last year, but like the multiplayer component is going to be free to play. Like anybody can download the PC or the Xbox. They can download the Halo Infinite multiplayer component without the single player and play it. So it'll be interesting to see if that works out for them.
Yeah, I think they announced that sometime. I think maybe for whatever reason when they said that I wasn't shocked. But I think it is I think it's probably a pretty good idea. I think there's still ways to make it such that that online component sustain itself. Whether that's they said there would not be like what was it, temporary battle passes or seasonal battle passes. So maybe they're trying to build in a longer cycle, a longer gameplay cycle with online.
I mean, definitely, we saw a lot of very cosmetically diverse Spartans during it, so I would have to assume that. I mean, I think that you could probably get away with it on cosmetics alone because it's such a social, such an online thing that, you know, somebody watched this trailer and they saw that samurai Spartan and they were like, dude, shut up and take my money. So, you know, all you got to do is get enough of those folks in there and you're good to go. We saw some cinematic for Halo 2 remastered.
Diablo 2.
Diablo 2, not Halo 2. Yep. Halo 2 has been remastered. Diablo 2 remastered, which looks an awful lot like Diablo 2, but remastered. So,
yeah, looks good.
Show me Diablo 5, you sons of bitches. I want to see more of that. I don't care about playing games I played when I was in high school. So, sad to say that during the live part of this trailer, like there was this weird technical problem that kept the trailer for A Plague Tale Requiem from, like, the audio was off and there was a lot of like jittering, at least on the stream that I was watching. But Plague Tale Innocence, I mean, what I played of it was wonderful, and I'm glad that they're making a sequel because that one was obviously made with a lot of love and care and attention, and I'd like to see what they do next. And also, there's a whole tidal wave full of rats. There's a tidal wave of rats coming down the street, so I don't even know how that works.
I know that rats are a big part of the previous game, but there's and I know I've seen a little bit of it. I've not played it, but I know that there are like sections where there are huge swaths of rats in the church or the orphanage, wherever you're at. I guess you kind of travel around. Have there ever been that many rats? That's a lot of goddamn rats.
They represent like an environmental hazard because they'll be like near battlefields, and then if you step out, like they go away from the light, but if you step out into where there are these huge swarms, they'll swarm your character and eat them to death. There's a lot of people getting eaten by big swarms full of rats, but then there's also, I don't know if you know this, but there's also some kind of weird mystical element about like the people can control these rat swarms, and like it's a curse, and like the church is trying to hide the people with the rat swarm power. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know that there's something supernatural like that comes in later. So I don't think that this trailer is trying to say that like, yeah, a tidal wave of rats, that happens all the time. Like there's definitely some magical nonsense happening here, but it's also just a really cool trailer. Like it's very moody, atmospheric.
I mean, it's been a lot, especially the Xbox show. There's a lot of cinematic trailers like this, but this one at least had the visceral impact of seeing hundreds of thousands of rats flood a street.
Yep, it's too many rats. One could say too many rats. I don't know. That's just me. Let's see. Far Cry 6 is a thing. In case you missed the entire Far Cry presentation, or I believe before this was the Ubisoft presentation, here's some more Far Cry 6 for you. In fact, it's at one more, isn't it? It's like, is it at the PC show or is it at the...
Yeah, PC show also had a trailer.
Oh, Jesus, guys, you're killing me with this. I don't think I've had you on since Far Cry 6 got their big reveal. What are your feelings about Far Cry 6?
I had a kind of a meditative experience with Far Cry 5. I did not play a lot of it, but my experience with Far Cry is always like a very methodical and more entrenched than kind of the action-y sort of game that I think a lot of people play it as. So I see a lot of that in this trailer. So I mean, I don't think I'm someone who goes and buys and plays every Far Cry game, but I think this is probably about as good as they've been lately. It looks interesting. Yeah.
I mean, it definitely looks like a Far Cry game. Like, that's my thing is that it looks like the last few Far Cry games, but prettier and with a few new additions. The backpack.
It seems like it has more urban spaces.
Yeah, maybe. I don't like this big chicken though. Chickens are Rage Lake's natural enemy. In this trailer, there's a fighting chicken that kills people. So I'll use the Datsun with the little wheels on the back. That's supposed to be my guy. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's Far Cry 6. We're going to talk more about Far Cry and Ubisoft in a minute anyway. So we'll blow past this. Slime Rancher 2.
Cool.
Yep. Which looks a lot like a new Slime Rancher.
I didn't know Slime Rancher was done.
Oh.
I haven't played it since early access, so I didn't know that they finally finished it. I never found a key. I was looking for. I don't know where the key is, Jeff.
I didn't play that much Slime Rancher, so I don't know what you're talking about. I played it. I think I played it in early access when it came out back when we used to have a show specifically dedicated to early access games, and it was like, oh, this is delightful and fun. And then I uninstalled it and went on with my life and never checked back in the way that happens with 90% of the early access games in the world. So
I wonder if this sequel will be early access also.
It could be. I mean, Xbox does have the ability to do the game preview early access stuff, so could be. There wasn't much here outside of a trailer that was delightful and charming and looked an awful lot like the first Slime Rancher, at least the way it was in my mind. Who knows? It could be that it's a lot better looking now than it was, but I couldn't tell the difference really.
I would say that this looks better, especially with like lighting and maybe some of the environment designs. I would say the light. I think it's the lighting. It
Okay.
looks, that is a pretty big change, I think.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, here comes my transition. Is from there. Let us transition to what might be. Okay. Bryce, what do you think about the game Shredders? What do you think about Shredders?
I thought that the one thing I remember from Shredders, I'm saying stalling for time as this trailer can play a little bit more, is I remember thinking, oh, the title, the design that they have for their logo looks really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really like a extreme sports brand.
This game looked fucking terrible to me. Like, it just, I mean, part of it is probably because I'm not really into the whole snowboarding thing. Like, I think I saw some people who were really excited that were like, oh, it's like a new SSX Tricky, kind of like the Skate to Tony Hawk thing, like bringing back a style of game they don't really make anymore. But
well, and then
this trailer,
this isn't even the best looking snowboarding game I've seen today.
Right. Yeah, so
we'll talk about it during Ubisoft, but like, extreme sports is getting covered.
Yeah, so I don't know what sets this apart from the other stuff. I don't know. It just looked weak. It looked a little weak. Let's see. Next up, we got the Atomic Heart trailer, which is a game that I feel like has been like right on my peripheral vision for a long time. Because I've seen some other trailers for this. I don't know. Have you ever run into Atomic Heart before?
No, this was a total surprise to me.
Mm-hmm. It's being made. It's like very Russian, and it's being made by this group of Russian developers, and it's their first game, and it's real weird, and it's hard to even explain how it's weird. Like, the style is all weird. The action looks it's a first person shooter. There's like powers involved with it, but like it starts.
Jeff.
What's that?
It's a Russian iRobot.
iRobot, you think?
I mean, we see a lot of cyber or a Russian Detroit become human, whatever that was.
Okay.
Like, I think it's that. Well, this has some gunplay in it, but I think it's going to be that kind of story of robots v humans.
Okay, I could see that. I couldn't find a whole lot of information, but just like the number of wacky things going on in this trailer is too high. I can't.
There's lasers. There's the lady's got the worms sort of headband here.
Yep.
The old lady with the spoon, and then
yep.
Humanoid looking robots, but then like a Pixar ass looking little square bot at the end.
There's a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot.
Okay.
It's like it's like the tonal opposite of like the way that Stalker is grounded. This is just buck fucking wild. And you know what? I love it because every so often you will find a game where it's Eastern Europeans just going fucking berserk, and I love it when that happens because there's a weirdness to the Eastern European developed game that is a very different weirdness than what you get from a weird Japanese game or a weird Western game. And so I am very much looking forward to Atomic Heart. From there, another one that I think a lot of people are looking forward to, or I saw a lot of buzz about, is this Replaced game, which is like kind of a side-scrolling, and it's kind of got like I've seen this in a few different places, this like pixels plus real-time lighting plus like 3D-ish backgrounds, but that are made out of pixels, almost Octopath-y. But this is definitely like a 2D kind of side-scrolling thing. And then I looked it up, and the premise is like an AI that is stuck in a person's body trying to sort that whole thing out. So, which is something I don't feel like I see very often in my fiction. Yeah, I love it though. I love what I'm seeing.
It's I feel like I'm having the same reaction when I first saw Octopath, which is like, this is really impressive. This is a really fascinating way to take a very specific aesthetic of, pixel art here, kind of a 16-bit, I guess, pixel art sort of style. And how do we take all of our modern sensibilities and techniques and really show something that feels another step up
yeah,
for where we're at. It looks really cool. I like these kinds of games. I liked a lot of the like WoD Jedi games, like assuming this is something similar to that, or is this action?
I think it's got
don't know if we know.
some. I mean, there's some definite. Okay, there's definitely platforming, and I feel like there's a few parts where we see some action kind of montages. Whether that though is the bulk of it or just things that happen from time to time, it's hard to say. Or whether they're even just like cutscenes. It's again difficult to say, but I don't know. The whole thing is intriguing enough that it looks. It's piqued my attention. Piqued my interest. That's what they say.
Yeah.
That's it. Nobody says piqued my attention.
You've piqued my meters.
From there, we got an update for Grounded, which has funguses and little pets, and you can build castles, and you can make chairs, and there's a new spider. And I'll play this game when it comes out in 1.0. I played it when it was in early access, and I liked it. I'm not the kind of guy who wants to keep playing a game through early access, through every iteration. I'm more of like, I want to see it in early access, and then if it gets good buzz when it comes into 1.0, boom, I'll give it a shot in 1.0.
Yeah, because it definitely seemed like, especially when it first came into early access, that it was pretty easy to kind of get to the stopping point there.
Yeah,
I think it's a cool idea. It's a concept that we haven't seen much of and has a lot of potential, but I would rather play a finished something of that.
Yep. Let's see. Among Us is coming on June 15th. So they got 15-player lobbies. I don't know if that's bigger than they've ever had before.
It is.
My biggest question, of course, is just like, it seems like during the negotiation phase that people are still using text inputs for negotiation, and I'm wondering why they haven't like canonized the voice comms aspect to it, because it seems like that's really where the I don't know. Maybe a lot of people do use it. We just used it on that one, the last year's holiday videos. We did the Discord voice comms, but I feel like it would be, if I was going to do any one thing for Among Us, it would be formally integrating the voice comm system into the game instead of using something like Discord or whatever to run it.
I think that would be a good feature to integrate a VoIP solution. I also think it is probably a lot easier to just not do that.
Sure.
I like when I've played in like random lobbies a couple of times, like the text chat is good. Like people are not like bad or try to abuse the text communications. But I think when you start to add voice, then you start to have to figure out how do you moderate voice, which is either expensive or complicated.
That's true. I guess it's just when you're playing on the computer, you could type. If you're playing on an Xbox, it's like using the Xbox pad to try to type a message about like, and that seems horrible to me.
And if you're on a Switch, there's no mic there.
Yeah.
If you're on your phone, are you going to let your mic record you the whole time? There's a lot of like uneven parts to solving that, where text is just a nice flat. It's just text.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Next, we got 2 games in the Eiyuden Chronicles, 100 Heroes, and Eiyuden Chronicles Rising, both of which seem to be like kind of Octopathy JRPGs. Again, see, now this is the thing where it's like that previous one, I really liked the style. This one, to me, felt very like, oh, Octopath did that and it was cool, so we're going to do that, where we've got like these 2D sprites, but then 3D environments that are made out of like kind of like voxels with a depth of field filter on it to kind of try to tie it all together. I don't know. I've seen a lot of JRPGs come and go, like of this ilk, where it's just like, here's some generic anime guys. They're in a war. Look at these graphics. You're gonna fight a dragon. Oh, betrayal. It's like, okay, all right. I didn't play the last Mana game, and I'm not gonna play this. Yeah. I don't think, but.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that this game probably will get a leg up on the field by, like, this is a Suikoden spiritual successor, right?
It very well could be. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, that makes a certain amount of sense. We do see an awful lot of different player characters, and there's this one kind of shot of action where I feel like it shows a lot of enemies and a lot of player characters doing a lot of kind of bombastic stuff. I mean, I don't want to get too far down on it. It's just JRPG stuff starts to blend together, and so what always piques my attention is the stuff that looks different than what I've already seen.
I'll say the other part of this is that this was kickstarted for about $4 million.
Oh goodness!
So I think that they're going to be good, and that also explains why they announced 2 games in sequential years. Like that, you would never do that unless one of these was already basically done.
I think this is the first time that I've seen a game with a 2023 release date. I like a specifically 2023 release date. That's kind of the big one that I got out of it. Let's see. Yeah, very briefly, we saw that the Ascent. We got a very, very, very brief trailer for the Ascent, and that it's coming out July 29th. I kind of wish that there was more, because I'm super psyched for the Ascent. Like, it looks like kind of Ruiner, but sort of some what was that game with Super Earth that was on the PlayStation? Anyway, it looks super fun, and I really want to play that game. So
I'm jealous of this game. I really hadn't given much attention, but just seeing it the past couple times I've seen it, I'm like, man, I would really like to play that game. Maybe that's if it's on PC. I believe it is coming to PC, so maybe that's how I'd get it. But this game actually looks really cool to me.
Actually, you know what? I don't. If I'm not mistaken, somebody can correct me, and I'm sure they will, but I'm pretty sure that there's nothing here that isn't on the PC. I'm pretty sure that Microsoft said that all of their games moving forward were going to be on the PC, as well as that there's not like a console exclusive, or whenever it says console exclusive, that it also says the PC, right? So,
okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well and that's nice. I do have a good gaming PC.
Yeah.
But I've been using my PlayStation a lot. Too.
My
PlayStation's probably stronger than my PC at this point.
Oh my. Okay, good. There's not that much left. What are you using your PlayStation for? I didn't want to ask that question if there was a lot more left, but there's only a few things left.
Actually, not much. I haven't been playing much games at all lately, but the last thing would have been Returnal, which I think we talked about the last time I was on this show.
Yep.
And more Hitman. I've been following the Hitman seasons that they're doing, the seasons of Sin.
The 7 Deadly Sins.
Or 7 Deadly. No, but yeah, it's something like that. They're doing like a mini seasonal thing. And those are pretty interesting little they're not full on like level expansions, but they're little tweaked escalations. I think they're neat.
Yeah, I played a little bit of one of those. I just finished Ratchet and Clank, which I really enjoyed.
Oh,
but
I'm excited to get into that sometime.
I'm a big.
And then I really want to play Chicory. I bought Chicory like a week ago, and I haven't even touched it because I'm working. I got a lot of work and stuff. So, I do want to play. It's so cute, Jeff. It looks so cute.
I know. I bought it too. I haven't played it yet either. So, let's see. Age of Empires coming out on October 28th. Age of Empires 4. I am not really a fan of Age of Empires. More of a StarCraft guy. I don't really. I mean, this is apparently coming out on the Xbox, but I don't really have. I just don't have anything to say about Age of Empires. It's just Age of Empires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it kind of looks like the battle physics may be better because I've been watching some friends play the Age of Empires 2 remaster that came out, and seeing one of those games do physics in high definition, that feels maybe a little different.
You know what?
I feel like that remaster re-energized people for Age of Empires again.
This website I was looking at is wrong. This is Windows 10 and then cloud gaming.
Xbox Cloud Gaming.
Yeah. Let's see. After that, we got
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds 2. That's right. That's what that is. I was like, which one was this? Which had its cheeky trailer that was describing like this is the point where you put in the big bwah noise, and Bryce is already making a face. You don't like it when they get too cute.
Isn't this game so funny?
You don't like it when they get
Outer
cute.
Worlds so funny? Isn't it so funny what we're doing, guys?
I think it's funny. I like it. I like it when they do it.
Okay. That's as much as I can. I know I can't. That's completely invalid as criticism, but
yeah.
Aren't we just so funny?
I liked Outer Worlds 1. I'm glad there's going to be an Outer Worlds 2. That's basically where I'm coming from.
I'm excited to see the potential of a much better Outer Worlds game. I'm excited for this to kind of either sink or swim this franchise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're also working on that medieval RPG that we didn't see, because there's actually quite a bit of stuff going on at Xbox that we haven't seen at this point. But let's see. Are we into Flight Simulator? Yep. So Flight Simulator, there's going to be, there's going to be a Top Gun Maverick update, because that's still a movie. Remember that movie?
Right.
That adds some jet planes to the game. I think the biggest thing from this trailer is that Flight Simulator is going to be coming out on the Xbox Series X and Series S, I believe. Which will mark, I think, the first time that Microsoft Flight Simulator has been on like a console as opposed to just strictly a PC thing. But not just that, I actually read, this is the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard, Bryce. I read an article where they were talking about using xCloud streaming on Xbox Ones to play the streaming version of Flight Simulator on your, like, the idea. It was a whole pitch about how they have plans on letting the xCloud app run on old Xbox One so that you could like literally be playing the new Halo on an old Xbox through the cloud streaming,
through cloud gaming.
Yeah. Which is like Microsoft has just been blowing my mind recently, because last week they had the story about how they were talking about putting xCloud on TV apps. Yeah. So watch out.
It makes a lot of sense. It turns out the Stadia idea is pretty good if you have games.
Yep.
I mean, like that's kind of a joke, but also like fucking.
No, that's the
Dead Man Walking.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that Game Pass is so full of games, and then when you say, well, all of the compatible games from Game Pass are also going to be available on your stream platform, and it's like, well, I don't have to buy into any of this shit. I could just try out Microsoft Flight Simulator on my phone and see if it works.
And then if they don't, you can still download and like own your games, and you don't have to be worried about them.
Yep. And then we had, I think from there we got the big Forza announcement. Forza 5 is going to be, it's in Mexico, I believe. It looks an awful lot like a Forza game. Like they talked a lot about it, a lot of going into specifics. But again, like I said at the beginning, you know, what do you want? You want me to pretend like I don't even dislike Forza. It's just
I was gonna say, you don't like Horizon? I thought you did like Horizon.
I do like Horizon. I like the kind of open chaos of it as opposed to the like very strict kind of racing stuff. And then, you know, you jack the difficulty down, you'll turn on rewind, and then you just beat every race and you pretend like you're the best. And then, like, you know, your followers on your YouTube channel jump in and challenge you, and they make you look like a dong on when you're trying to record a video. And, you know, that happens. And then you throw the controller at the wall and you swear off racing games forever at the end. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's right, Jeff. It sounds amazing.
It looks fun. I mean, you know, it's the same kind of like mixed chaotic, like big open world thing. The architecture looks fine. They've got the kind of beauty shots of some of the different things. Nothing about this looks bad.
It's the good open world racing game. It's the car version of Assassin's Creed. It's very, very good at being the thing that it is. And there's a lot of it. And I know for me, like, I bounced off of Horizon after like maybe a month or so, but it's fun. Like, I think it's very approachable and fun for a car game, and it's not the things that are inside of it. Not a lot of it feels like chaff, despite it all being you race your cars around and they go fast.
Yep. I also really I always love the framing device because they have this dumb, like, it's the Horizon Festival. I'm your host, Johnny Wheeljack. All right, racers, who's ready for some sick races? And then you get out of your car and they've got to have like a cutscene where he's like, all right, rookie, I know you're new to this Horizon Festival, but let me go through the ropes about how you could become the hottest racer in Mexico. And I'm just like, yes, I am 100% here for this level of stupid.
Yeah.
And then we got
it's the choice.
We got one more thing as well, which was Redfall, which is a very, very awkward name. But this is what Arcane's going to be doing after Deathloop comes out, and this is a 4-player. This new PvE 4 players versus the AI. It's the hottest fucking thing, man. Like, everybody wants in on this, and I don't know if like the Left 4 Dead numbers in 2020 went up by 200%, and just everybody wants to get in on this co-op thing, because I feel like they tried.
But you look at
pushing this and it didn't work. Sorry,
well, you look at like Dead by Daylight. Like, I think we are coming out of the swing of all of the publishers saying we need to make live service games because then people will pay us, you know, World of Warcraft money every month.
Right.
But we've grown out of those gaming trends, and because of the pandemic, obviously couch co-op became a tough genre to make. But people are playing more online with each other, and we're all realizing that we really liked doing that back in the day, and it's way easier than like trying to make everything an MMO online game.
Yeah. So this is 4 players versus vampires and ghouls, and they're basically, I mean, it's basically Left 4 Dead, but it does have a lot of character. Like, I like the characters in the trailer have a lot of character. I like Arcane, and I'm hoping that they bring some of that kind of what they always have, like, a lot of different options to do things in Arcane games, right? Even in Deathloop, it looks like, you know, you've got like brute force and stealth and like slow down time, and I hope that they bring that level of player choice to this game, because I feel like one of the things that turns me off, particularly of Left 4 Dead, is that your choice was shoot guns at zombies. How good can you shoot the guns at the zombies? Continue shooting guns at zombies, etc., etc. You know, the end. But
and I think something that maybe we have not fully exploited in the let's just call it Left 4 Dead genre, is like doing a full co-op campaign. Like do a big co-op campaign, right? And Arcane are great people to do it because, like you mentioned, like these are very, I'd say, personable characters. They see the one thing that this trailer does show is story writing and chemistry, because we definitely don't see a frame of actual game footage. But like you have 4 interesting characters here with a very interesting problem of vampires.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, but then Arcane has yet to do me wrong. So Arcane for me has a pass until they really mess it up. But up until now, nothing that Arcane has put out hasn't had some amount of value for me to play over the last 10 years or so. And that was the Xbox Bethesda game show. What would you say? Do you have is there a winner? Is there a one game out of all of that stuff that stood out to you more than anything else?
I mean, in terms of games that I am considering purchasing and playing, like I think The Ascent is the one that I am like weirdly fixated on. But also, like, I really did like Horizon 4, and I could pay for a month of Game Pass to see if, you know, all of that hand-holding festivals bullshit is, you know, no longer a concern. But, yeah, other than that, like, I think there's a lot of really cool games here that I have some time to ruminate on.
Yeah, a lot of the really excited stuff is coming next year. So, which is one of the things that can sometimes put a little bit of the kibosh on the E3 excitement is it's just like, well, I'd like to see more of Starfield, but we're not seeing that right away. Like, I'd like to see more of Redfall, but we're not seeing that right away. So the stuff that I know about, I already knew about, and the stuff that I didn't know about, I mean, it's the smaller stuff like Somerville, but even that's 2022. You know, Atomic Heart is interesting, but I don't think we got like any kind of release date. Yeah.
Right.
Replaced, I thought was interesting, but even those are like smaller. So I think that's maybe what I'm missing is like, where's the big reveal, big AAA, like blast your socks off and it's out in 2021? And the answer is it was at Square's show.
I feel like I feel like the Outer Worlds 2 could have been that if they didn't have to start the show with Skyrim in space. I feel like if they didn't have to make Starfield the new baby, I think we could have seen more of Outer Worlds 2 or even a date to get a sense of maybe Outer Worlds is a medium-sized game from now on. Maybe it's not going to be. It's not a huge, grandiose, let's say, franchise.
Maybe you switch out the Redfall and the Outer Worlds trailer, and you end with Outer Worlds.
If you can detail it, yeah.
And then if you could actually have a little bit of it, you start with Starfield, end with Outer Worlds. You got space in the brain. Okay, with that, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to do Ubisoft, which is not nearly as long or interesting as this conference was. And then we are going to put the pedal all the way down and go through that PC gaming show like a knife through hot butter. So stick around, and we'll see you in a minute for more E3 2021.
They will answer you with screams, call you evil, a monster, and give you this. So you tell me, are you evil? you a monster. Because our country is like this grenade, except it has two basic parts. Our people and you. And you must clutch them nice and tight, or we all go boom.
And we're back. And it's time to talk about more E3 2021. It's time to talk about my I don't know. It's a real race for like who is Salty Jeff the most salty about in the video game industry, and recently it's very much been Ubisoft. So Ubisoft. But I think I figured it out last week. Like, Ubisoft wants a version of every popular game that's out there. So, you know, they want to have that's when it started to make more sense to me, is like, you know, Rainbow Six Siege is their Counter-Strike, and like the Division is like their kind of battle royale, or I don't even know. But anyway, we started off Ubisoft this year with a look at the recently renamed Rainbow Six Extraction, which is very much to me, again, it's the Ubisoft version of Left 4 Dead, right? It's using the Rainbow Six operators. It's alien infection and not zombies, but for all intents and purposes, it seems pretty similar. There's a few things in here. There seems like there's more of a stealth element to parts of it, but the idea of like, oh, we're going to mix Rainbow Six with some kind of 4-player co-op zombie extraction mode, and I'm like, boy, those words all in that order could not make me less excited about a video game. I don't know.
This trailer was more interesting as like a short film than a demonstration of a video game that is about to come out. It's kind of weird. I don't know. There's not too much. This is some demonstration stuff, I guess. I haven't looked in. I only saw the trailers for the Ubisoft conference.
Okay. Yeah, this is the actual gameplay that we got of it, and it's there seems to be kind of like a stealth section, and then you don't want to get too many like monsters coming at you at the same time, but it's very much a 4-player, you know, first person shooter. They're using a lot of the actual operators from the Rainbow Six Siege with some of the different, like, you know, use your drone to look at the next room and that kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, like, this wasn't especially interesting to me when it was originally announced, and what I'm seeing here is fine. It's just that, like, the Ubisoft in recent years it's just been fine. Like, I feel like it's all been very safe. It's all been very, like, you know, proven stuff. I don't see that many chances being taken at Ubisoft, and for me at least, that's what's exciting. It's not like, well, we've got this known property and we know it's going to be good and we know people are going to like it. It's just like, to me, this is to Left 4 Dead what like Hyperscape is to their battle royale. You know, they've got their battle royale, they've got their 4-player PvE, they've got their kind of massive third-person one, they've got their squad-based first-person shooter. Like, there's nothing in here. Even the enemy designs to me look very uninspired. They're just kind of gloopy, you know, kind of muscle-y with spikes and some neon and stuff coming off of them. I don't know. There's nothing about this that really... The only thing that's even somewhat interesting is the idea that, like, if a person gets downed, they get taken, like in that trailer, and glooped up somewhere, and then you can go and like rescue them. But outside of that, like, God, it's just so generic. I don't know. It's just so uninspired. It's just Ubisoft by the numbers. Like, the art style looks like Ubisoft. They're in a generic lab. There's these generic monsters. They're generically shooting them.
And having this like alien infestation element to it feels out of place. It would feel like that would be an out of place thing for a Tom Clancy game, wouldn't it? Isn't this too crazy?
Well,
Like this is just a shooter that they gave the Tom Clancy thing. I legitimately don't know, but this just I don't know, that it's so strange.
it's to me well, I heard or read somewhere speculation, and I don't know, this is just something that I read somewhere, that like that one of the reasons that it maybe looks a little bit crappy is because when they were moving away from the quarantine label, that they also decided to retool away from zombies into this alien thing that is a little bit more specific to them, because everybody's maybe they looked at Back for Blood and they were just like, we could probably throw this over to the art department, have them take off some of the murder blood, but make it a little smoother and make it a little bit different, and then we're going to retool it as an alien thing. I don't know. In any case, it just comes off as like just so much more. I'd rather play Back for Blood, to be honest, because it looks like it has a little bit more character, and this looks too much like Rainbow Six, which is not something that I'm interested even in playing anymore. So I don't know. Let's see. From there, we found out that Rocksmith is coming back. This is actually this is a pretty cool one. And not only is it coming back, but it's going to essentially be a phone app. So rather than having to have, I think before they had like a specific guitar that you had to use. Now you can use.
You got to use an adapter. Like you right? Wasn't Rocksmith, or is that another one where you could use a real guitar?
Maybe it was. Maybe it was. I never played Rocksmith, so I don't know for sure. But this one, apparently, you can just use your cell phone, and it'll listen to the way you play, and it's enough to do the things. So you can use it with any guitar. There seems like there's a lot going on here. For anybody who doesn't know, Rocksmith is like kind of like a cross between Guitar Hero, but like actually teaching you how to play the guitar, like actually making you move your fingers to play the song on the guitar instead of the more abstracted thing. Yeah.
This was the second trailer for this conference, and it was the first one where I noticed the very conspicuous a Ubisoft original tag on all of these games. And this was because this was the first one I saw. I thought, oh, they're not calling it a game because this is just a this is just a music learning platform. Like yeah, you do a test in real time and you get numbers at the end of it. But you have like this. It's a subscription with this fucking social network.
Yep.
But then all of the games are quote unquote a Ubisoft original, and like, are we blurring the lines of game design that maybe we're even further broadening the ways that Ubisoft can monetize you?
I mean, I just go back to I think that it's just. This seems very cynical, but at the end of the day, it's like, oh, well, we've got Just Dance locked down, and that does really well. We used to have this product called Rocksmith. If we can make the tech work so that you didn't have to buy something outside of the software or a subscription, right, then we can get people to pay us monthly for this thing. They'll sign up for it, be like, oh yeah, I want to play guitar, and then they'll sign up for it, and then they'll forget that they're doing it, and then we'll get like 8-9 months worth of zero activity users and just rake in a bunch of cash off of it. I mean, I don't doubt that the people that are making this are like have the best of intention, but to me this just seems like it seems very cynical and like just wanting to monetize another section of your user base, right? I don't know.
It feels out of place in this conference. I mean, there is a portion of it where you are looking at a Guitar Hero type screen and notes are kind of traveling towards you, but the utility of it and the very clean utility of it versus something like Ring Fit Adventure, where it's designed to have an extra game RPG layer on top of it, where I don't see that here. And I think it's a cool product. I think it's a cool educational product that they've designed.
Yeah.
That just feels a little out of place in a games conference.
Well, especially,
but then they had a whole TV section. So really, what does it fucking matter?
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. I mean, like this is actually one of the ones that I think was good. Like because if you want to try to learn how to play guitar and you want to do this, and they've got all these like adaptive difficulties and all these different songs and stuff. As long as it's not ridiculously priced and you don't have to. I guess whether it comes off as whether you have to purchase specific songs that you would like to learn, like that's where I guess I would have a little bit of trouble with it. But I get what you're saying in that, like, so much of this conference is bombastic action and the stuff that Ubisoft is known for, and then this just kind of like all of the footage from this, because there's not a lot to show gaming wise, is just like very soft, professionally shot video of like happy young people bettering themselves and learning
Holding
to play
a guitar,
some
yeah.
and there's like this one shot where the guy's sitting at the table playing on his laptop, and there's like a wife that looks over, just smiles like, there's my husband learning how to play a guitar. There's like a bunch of people opening a garage door and high-fiving like we're gonna have band practice, and yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's yeah. But this is the Ubisoft. This is the Ubisoft philosophy that they've said certainly for years, that they want to make games or experiences where you create the story, and there's nothing more you create the story than you learn how to play guitar.
Yep, that's true.
Like,
I don't know.
Literally. So.
From there, let's see. We got Jeff scrolled down. We got Riders Republic, which I will be honest, I finally this year figured out. I didn't have any idea. When Steep came out, it was baffling to me because it looked like a piece of garbage, and I played it and I didn't understand it. But now I get it, that this is like the people that like, you know, the Sean Mira's BMX and SSX Tricky and like those kind of sports combo challenge type of games. It's just an open world version of that, where you've got all these different things to kind of test your score, trick multiplier, and do it multiplayer with your friends, and like get a crazy helmet and check out this big thing's got a it's doing the hang 10 hand symbol, and so this is definitely not for me, but like it does look like a good version. Again, when they announced it last year, I was very cynical about it, but I guess I understand that's just like, this is just taking the Steep DNA and then adding a bunch of other sports onto it, so that you just have this one big unified platform. Again, for people that want to play that type of game, well, here's the Ubisoft version of the skateboarding, snowboarding, BMX downhill game for you to play. So,
yeah, it's the Crew. Hi, hello, this is the Crew Extreme. I have snowboards, and I have wingsuits, and I have a first-person bicycling mode. Which is fine, but it's again, make a big open playground for people, and mindlessly put challenge, not mindlessly, but really pepper it full of tick marks, and have people create their own excitement.
Yeah.
But I did think that the trailer, especially that first person high speed bicycling, I did think that was pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure all of this is, well, some of this actually does look like gameplay, but that just seemed, I don't know, high speed downhill bicycling is really scary.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, again, the other thing that I want to make sure that when I do all my Ubisoft complaining, that I want to make sure that I make clear is that, like, Ubisoft also has a certain level of quality to their games where, the lighting, the textures, all the stuff, none of this looks bad. Like, even, Rainbow Six Extraction doesn't look bad. The Riders Republic doesn't not look bad at all. Like, it has the competency of a game made by a professional studio that makes games like this. So
like, Ubisoft is piecemeal making and selling Grand Theft Auto Online.
Okay.
Right? These are all the mini games from Grand Theft Auto Online.
Sure.
The Crew is all the driving in the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to shoot a lot of guys, you've got the Division. If you want to be tactical or heisty, you've got this Rainbow Six or what have you. Like, doesn't it feel like that maybe a little bit?
Yeah. No, I mean, and that makes sense in the idea of, like, if you take each one of those events out of Grand Theft Auto Online, expand on it a little bit, and then charge full price for it, well, then you get to make people buy Grand Theft Auto Online one thing at a time, and you get 5 times the money instead of, just selling them the one thing. Because, I mean, at this point, you can almost imagine a world where all of these games unified into just Ubisoft the game, where you just Like you just get in your crew car and you drive over to the hyperscape arena and play some hyperscape, and when you're done you want to chill out with your friends on the steep mountain and then learn how to play a little guitar while you do some Rabbids tactical missions. Just do whatever you feel like.
Trackmania, everything. It is not the only thing it is missing is like a PlayStation Home style layer, but you don't need that because you can just use a game launcher. But like that, we kind of do have that a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not seamlessly, but it's just a very and this is not to say that any of those specific elements are good in Grand Theft Auto Online, or that these Ubisoft games are not very serious expansions on well-existing genres, but we were looking at fucking jetpacks. Jeff, this is very just interesting.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I'm actually a little bit more interested in Riders Republic than I was in Steep, because it seems to have more than just the here's this snowboarding thing and then here's this snowboarding thing. So I like the jetpacks as opposed to, and like you said, the downhill bike stuff. Let's see. After that, we got some very brief Siege expansion stuff, talking about cross-play between PC Stadia and Luna, which is interesting.
Okay.
Let's see. After that, we got the big trailer for the new Siege operator, which I felt like they put a lot of work into for just a Siege operator, and they spent a lot of time talking about it. So...
This confused me quite a lot, Jeff. I thought this was going to be an anime that Ubisoft was producing.
Uh-huh.
And it took quite a while after this very nice cartoon was done for me to realize that this is a character in the video game Rainbow Six Siege.
Yep. They've done this, but they've done stuff like this before. Like they had a little trailer that they made for when they put Sam Fisher in Siege. Like it's kind of like their version of the Overwatch character trailer stuff. They're really hyped about this because this person's a Native American and they spent a lot of time talking with folks about that. There's like kind of a featurette after the whole thing got done where everybody was patting themselves on the back pretty hard. It's a very nice trailer. I don't care about Siege at all. There's a bear in here. You don't fight any bears in Siege. If there was a bear in Siege, I maybe would play it where you get to play as the bear. But
play a bear next round.
Yeah, we got a montage after that where we got we got the Watch Dogs Legacy or whatever expansion, the one with Aiden and the guy from Wrench. Which I am still monumentally pissed off that they picked the regular white protagonist from Watch Dogs 1 and then the white dude sidekick from Watch Dogs 2, because Marcus is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Why can't he be in that? I don't understand. Maybe something happened at the end and I forgot, but
I've got some ideas on that, Jeff. But
oh, I see. You've been reading articles about Ubisoft. So yeah, this is the montage. For Honor's getting a new season. Trackmania's got some stuff going on. Brawlhalla's getting a Ninja Turtles. Watch Dogs Legion is getting some old favorites. I think that was it. This is all just maintenance, basically. But it is worth pointing out, though, right, that when we were just talking about these Ubisoft things, that For Honor is still a thing, and it's doing well enough for them to do content updates for it. Trackmania,
constantly, for
all the complaining, is still active enough that they're adding new stuff. Brawlhalla, may just be a ripoff of Smash Brothers, but they're constantly putting characters in Brawlhalla. So, again, add those to the big Ubisoft launcher of all of the games.
Ubi World.
Oh no, and then the Crew, and then the Crew 2 is also getting updates, which I was like, I didn't realize anybody still played the Crew 2.
They're contractually obligated to do these expansions or something.
Yeah. So all that stuff is happening.
Cool.
Also, Ghost Recon is getting some stuff because, of course, it is. From there, Just Dance 2022 was announced. I had absolutely no idea who Todrick Hall was, but I went and watched his nails, hair, hips, heels video after seeing this because my chat was like, Jeff should totally do this dance when Just Dance comes up this year. And Bryce, have you seen Todrick Hall's hair, heels video, whatever it is? I don't know all the words.
I think I've heard it, but I don't think I've seen the music video. No.
It is amazing. Like, it's just this huge, it's just, he walks into this warehouse, like you can see in the video clips here with this like pink triangle, and then just like dudes and ladies in these outfits come out and they just do this huge dance number with like a whole bunch of people all dressed the same way. And the song itself is like 5 minutes long, and there's like at the end there's a lot of squatting involved, and I'm like, I would die if I tried to dance for 5 minutes. If I tried to match Todrick Hall, I would die trying to do that. But
they don't worry, Jeff. They do tone down the dances for the game. I can tell you from experience.
Yeah, apparently there's going to be like a different version of the song for Just Dance.
Family friendly. That's maybe what it might be. They also do a lot of scrubbing lyrics and stuff like that too. We've been talking a little bit about live service games, and Just Dance is the weird example where there are 3 platforms, right? There are these yearly game releases, Just Dance 2022, and then Just Dance Unlimited, which is the online subscription for and just you hop into any of these recent yearly games, and they have a library of games or songs. And then they also have a free-to-play version on phones and computers that you can pay for tokens to buy access to a song. So it's strange that it's strange that you can do this with Just Dance. And if you're Ubisoft, then you take all of these swings, because I can see a world where you have the free-to-play version of Riders Republic and the yearly version of Riders Republic and the online expansion or something like that.
Yeah, I think isn't Siege is already free-to-play, right?
Is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
I believe so. And then they've announced previously, they didn't show it, but there's the Division Homeland is going to be a free-to-play version of the Division with a brand new setting and a new story that's going to be coming out like sometime in the next year as well. So,
wow.
Yeah.
You got it. It's about for Ubisoft. It's creating gameplay cycles, right? I mean, not to say that they don't make games that have campaigns, but when you get someone into a cycle, then they get really invested. I haven't done it much lately, but last year I was doing a ton of Just Dance because it's like great exercise, and I was looking at getting one of the newer games or getting the online thing because I'm old and I don't know any of the new music. But you get people in those cycles. You get them saying, "Oh man, I really like the bicycle, going downhill bicycle." Well, what if they pay for a fucking bicycle battle pass or something, Yep. Like even Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this like traditionally yearly franchise, like it was so weird. In the conference they say, for the first time ever, we will be supporting an Assassin's Creed game in its second year. And it's like, how crazy must the money faucet be to be able to do all of these different branching extensions, right? Getting people in every different way and somehow justifying itself, so being clearly successful.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing exceptionally well. I mean, I guess Assassin's Creed Odyssey had all the gods Atlantis stuff or whatever that I feel like came out like the year after, like the DLCs, the big DLCs for it came out the year after. But yeah, speaking of which, they talked about the Siege of Paris expansion, like adding in swords, like doing. I mean, I guess that's the thing is that
Did this game not have one-handed swords?
Apparently
that's
not.
The level that we're on.
Apparently not. But like the thing that was weird about this was that Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a single player game, but the verbiage in these announcements was of a live service of a and then the Q4 where like the lines between those things I think are blurring pretty steadily, where there is like a full single player version of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but then there's also I think they've had like 3 expansions already, and then they've got another one coming, and they got support just for like gameplay additions.
And I mean, some of this, I have not been following Valhalla really at all. So maybe this is trodden territory. But like, once you get into the position of like, showing off different time periods, you don't need to have a connection to the like you can have the full like with Ghost of Tsushima, right? We played that on Rage Select. Like you can just have a full multiplayer mode that is not connected to a full single player campaign, and get people into a cycle with that online like co-op mode, something fundamentally different, and yet in the same space.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. They're also adding in for Valhalla. They're adding in the Discovery Tour, which they've done for the past couple, where you could just kind of walk around and read Microsoft Encarta entries on Vikings in your game.
And they've got mini games. I don't think they've had like interactive stuff before. We kind of watched this guy chop a piton into a log.
I have absolutely no idea, because the last thing I want to do is learn. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, if you guys like it, then there's going to be more of it.
Wow.
Let's see. After that, we had the part that Bryce said he didn't watch, the TV and film section.
I just didn't see it.
Actually, what's funny is that the Mythic Quest Season 2 thing was just like it's that trailer where it's just like a montage of funny lines with like quotes from reviewers and whatnot. But the Werewolves Within trailer, I kind of dug it. Like, it's so Werewolves Within, like, it's technically based on that. I think it's that VR game that they made that was based on Werewolf, which was like the kind of Among Us Mafia, like somebody's the killer social game, right? And they had a VR version of it that they put out like very early on in their VR stuff. I remember it was on the PlayStation. And so this is like the trailer for this makes it look like a super campy B movie about the idea of this motley group stuck in like the wilderness, and one of them might be a vampire, or like who knows. And it's got I didn't even notice this before, but it's got Guillermo from
What We Do in the Shadows?
What We Do in the Shadows right there.
Oh, that's him. Oh my goodness, he's a man.
Is it
that him?
I think it is him. I don't know, I could be wrong. I just saw a guy that looked
that's a man, baby.
But I don't know,
but also, Jeff, do you know what you're describing?
Mm-hmm.
The movie Clue.
I like the movie Clue. If you want to make a horror version of the movie Clue, I am 100% down to watch that, because it looks like
it is. Yeah, got it. Yeah, okay.
It's just, I don't know. It looks like it was also a really cheeky trailer. It was like based on the video game that you've never heard of. Like, I don't know. This felt like its own thing. Like, if I just saw this trailer on YouTube, I'd be like, oh, that's cool, without ever knowing that it was a part of it reminds me of like, I don't know. Like, did you ever see You Might Be the Killer, right? Like that Shudder movie that had the dude from, anyway, had Allison Hannigan in it and stuff. I've seen some kind of low budget horror movies, and this kind of feels like something along the lines of that, or like it kind of reminds me of like The Dead Don't Die, but like less like the way that The Dead Don't Die originally was, where it was like, oh, this is a kooky, funny thing, and then when you watch it, it's like this really esoteric, existential nightmare. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's strange, and I. because Ubisoft has been very public about like you remember when they announced the first Watch Dogs, and like part of that was saying, and Sony has bought the rights to the TV to adapt Watch Dogs or whatever. Like this feels like in Hollywood, they'll look for any reason to get people watching something. And if that means, hey, we have a horror movie here, or even a script for a horror movie, we can get it a little more exposure if we get this Ubisoft kind of tangentially related, werewolf game. Then we can be shown at E3, and then that's like, serious promotion for a cheap film. It's very. This feels pretty pragmatic. I don't know that anyone really wanted a werewolves movie.
Probably not. Also, I looked it up. That's totally Guillermo. So good job.
Wow.
From there, we went into Far Cry 6. There was a quite extended.
Now, wait, Jeff, we've already done Far Cry 6. I think you should check your list twice.
This is the inciting incident that we've had. They show a cutscene. It's a cutscene about how bad Gus from Breaking Bad is. He comes down and oh, he's a bad man. He's charming. He's a bad man in a Far Cry game. What?
What?
But then they show the DLC for Far Cry 6, which is apparently going to be 3 different games set about Voss, Pagan Min, and Joseph Seed from their perspectives, kind of psycho head trip stuff. Like in the Voss parts, Voss is getting beat up by was it Jason or whatever, whoever the main character is like tormenting him, and in the Pagan Min section there's a lot of like weird stuff going on. This is so weird to me.
Jeff, what if I told you that this was Far Cry's Avengers moment? like that's how pre-prepared you get. Like this suddenly closes a lot of loops on some of the way that these past Far Cry. Like I remember I've watched a friend play Far Cry 5 and seen the end of it, and you go, what the fuck? Why is that how does that happen at all? Like this is stupid. Well, congratulations, you get to fill in way more stuff with the most charismatic parts of these games.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm not entirely sure. The thing is that the Far Cry 5 DLC, I bought the season pass for that. And so the first game was Vietnam themed, and then the second one was like a moon, like the cheeky like you're on Mars shooting a bunch of people, and then the last one was like a comic book zombie thing, and I didn't even play that because the second one was so bad. So I mean,
I've never heard of those.
Yeah,
like that's so strange. I've never heard of those.
Yeah, so I don't know if like this is going to be a better like the Far Cry 4 DLC was all just like add on to the title, but Far Cry 5, they really just went out of their way to have a separate thing. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is their way to try to be like, hey, the last DLC pack tanked really hard and was abysmally reviewed. So we're going to give you back all your favorite characters and also Joseph Seed. I
think his parts in this look really fascinating. I mean, in a world where like the kind of magical, mystical properties of Far Cry 5, I did not seem like they ever got explained at all. Like it's interesting. This is a really interesting move. I was really surprised by this.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it shakes out. And then we had it's actually I gotta say really briefly that like Nintendo pulled like a seriously dick move by listing the website for the new Mario Rabbids game like right at the beginning of the Ubisoft or right before the Ubisoft conference, and I think it was just like a time difference. Like we knew it was going to be announced, we turned it on, and we accidentally turned it on an hour early. But Mario and Rabbids, second Mario and Rabbids Spark of Hope appears to be out in the universe. It's got the lumens or whatever from Galaxy Galaxy. Rabbids Rosalina is in there, being a sass monster. I like Mario Rabbids. I'm gonna play this game. Mario Rabbids is great. I'm gonna play more Mario Rabbids. 100% down.
Yeah, the first one was really cool. This one is like not grid based, so it kind of changes the game a little bit. But yeah, like I'm surprised it took this long for them to make a sequel, because that first Mario and Rabbids game seemed universally loved to some degree.
I think that the timing has a lot to do with the fact that Nintendo requires a certain level of, like, you can't just crap out a sequel. It's got to be like, if Mario's in this game, it's got to be like an A-tier quality video game. Like, you can't just throw together a story. You're going to need to show me something. But
Yeah.
And then last and almost certainly least, I don't know. Does anybody in the world... Well, first there was Yves, but we're skipping Yves because who gives a shit about Yves? He sucks. Avatar. Avatar. Yes, no, not the Airbender. Avatar, the James Cameron movie. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Who could even give one shit? Like,
The thing I didn't expect for this game to be is an Ace Combat game. I thought it would be. It certainly. I don't know. We don't really know what this is. There's a lot of flying on your fucking guy.
do you remember the name of the guys they fly on, that the Navi fly in Avatar? Do you remember at all?
Jeff, and I would never disgrace you by telling you what their name is, but yes, I do in fact know what those creatures are called.
Okay. Well, I sure as fuck don't, because and then they do and then the army comes with their planes and their mech guys, like at the end of the movie, and you gotta shoot them with your bows and arrows, and it's just like, quit trying to make Avatar, or like, okay. I'm gonna be. This is the nicest.
This is not the story of Avatar. This is like a new story.
Yep.
Someone wrote a new Avatar story.
Yeah, the nicest possible interpretation, or the nicest possible thing that I could say here is, why don't you wait until one of those other Avatar movies comes out and people are talking about Avatar? Because nobody's talking about Avatar. That was your one more thing? You guys are working on a Star Wars games, for fuck's sake. You could have put a Starfield and a Darth Vader breath, and then Star Wars, Forces of the Republic, 2025, and it would have been way better than this. 100% better than this. 100% better. Avatar. Goddamn.
Fuck.
Goddamn Avatar.
Man.
Oh no! Actually, there is one more thing. There's one more thing, Bryce.
What if Avatar is a live services game, Jeff?
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
Me and the buddies gotta get on our cat dragons. We gotta go. We gotta grind out some unobtainium.
You gotta work up. Your social points with that lady Avatar, so you can have that weird hair sex where they put their ponytails together for some reason. Then you become a tree ghost.
Jeff, Ubisoft is going to sell unobtainium.
Actually,
there is a good chance that there's a premium currency in that game that is a services game and has unobtainium as the current. Like, there's like a good chance that that's the case.
There's a collector's edition that comes with a brick of unobtainium. Yeah, they ended it up with a little like thing about Luna and the Game Pass, the Ubisoft Game Pass, the one that has all the Ubisoft games on it. Which, I mean, I guess, but yeah, that was Ubisoft. What a pile of garbage! What a steaming shit pile of wreckage and broken dreams from a company that used to be creative and interesting. Rainbow Six. Riders Republic, Rainbow Six, Just Dance, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry. Mario and Rabbids is good. I like Mario and Rabbids. I'll play one of those. But you didn't make that, Ubisoft. I mean, you made it, but I don't doubt that if it was,
build that, so.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, didn't EA stopped doing these, right? Is EA still doing their own like events.
Everybody keeps saying that to me, Bryce. They're doing theirs at the end of July for some stupid reason because they're EA, and I don't know, it's question marks across the board.
They don't want this much spotlight on them right now.
Nope.
But I think that, yeah, man, this is very safe and whatever. There's some interest. Like the writers looks all right, but this is so like Ubisoft also has all the other thorny shit around it that I can't. It's very difficult to ignore.
Where is Beyond Good and Evil 2? I know it's a game. You showed it. Like you said it was a thing. You've made us wait for years, and yet I didn't see any of that. Like there's other games that you could have showed me, but like this is just the safest, most boring fucking thing. Like
and that's because they're playing that game. They're playing the live services game, and now half of these conferences are talking about getting one-handed swords in a medieval game, which seems they didn't have a one-handed sword in Valhalla?
If you told me that the Square Enix conference would be more interesting than the Ubisoft conference,
I know.
I would have told you were a liar, but that's how it worked out. In fact, in some ways, there's more stuff in the PC gaming show that was interesting to look at because it's not just like, oh, here's fucking DLC for this game, and here's the next iteration of this game, and here's a sequel to the game you knew about, and like, what's the one thing that you could never see coming? Avatar. Like,
normally, like Ubisoft is a publisher. Normally, like they do have some amount of time spent on like, here are the little games that we're making. Here's Unraveled and the little walking robot game or whatever. Like. They used to do smaller games and give them some time, but now all these big games are live services, and that's where the focus is, I'm assuming, or TV licensing. Jesus.
Yep. I don't know. It's just a disappointment. I mean, the thing is that the reason it's such a disappointment to me is that Ubisoft used to be a very wild card company that took some big swings in some interesting ways, and it's just like they are as safe as EA now. Like they are as boring and safe as EA of just like, we've got our established properties, we're cranking out the next entries in these series. When we are making something new, it's something that's kind of just like a copy or trying to get into a space that we don't already occupy, and to me, it's like that's so safe that it's boring, and there's nothing worse. I'd rather have bad than boring, because the only reason that I didn't tune out for this mentally when I was watching it was because it was like the first big thing that happened, and so I still had my momentum going, but
it certainly feels like Ubisoft's approaches to incrementalize as efficiently and as tolerable as they can.
Yeah,
and it their success, we've got a lot of words to say about Ubisoft, but apparently Ubisoft does video games very well, y'all. So it's kind of hard to be like, there's only so much you can say when the response is, dude, we sell millions of these every year.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't matter. So,
yeah.
It is what it is.
So does Call of Duty Warzone, but I don't have to fucking like or play that. I'm playing the Mario Game Maker Garage right now. I don't give a shit about like your online game.
Do you like that, by the way? I saw that at Target. I didn't think it was out yet.
I'm liking it so far. It's very complicated, but I went online to see. I finally got to the point in the tutorial where it's like, okay, now take the pre-made asset that we've been building with, and you can apply a node on, which is the little guys called texture, and it just gives you a blank sheet of pixels that you can draw your own thing in to replace the thing with. And I'm just like, oh, that's what I've been waiting for.
Wow, nice.
So, okay, we do not have time to go through this one by one. So let's talk about the PC Gaming Show. First off, allow me, I don't want, just because we spent so much time on Ubisoft for the PC Gaming Show, to get away with like this stupid framing device of, that's not it, that's a different show. This stupid framing device of like man driving a GeForce card through the universe and his robot pal, and then the lady on the ground is driving a Mech Warrior, because this whole thing is sponsored by Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries. Download it today. This sucks. Did you watch this? You just watched the trailers, didn't you? You didn't watch this part.
I watched the trailers, and they PC Gaming put them up because they're splits up of this live stream, and so some of them have. Oh, okay, so this is what a man named Day 9 looks like. Cool. I like literally didn't. But they would have little bits of these folks like interviewing in these trailers. It actually really confused the shit out of me in that Civilization type game, because I don't know who Frankie Ward is, but clearly the people who make that video do. Yeah,
it was really weird, the amount of production that they put into this. I honestly feel like the problem at this point in the day was that I think this was what it was, like Ubisoft and then Bethesda, and then this at the end of like, it was the first day, the second day, Saturday. I don't know. Whatever it was, this went on for 90 minutes, and then there was the Future Games Show that we're going to get to on a different podcast. I'm not going to make Bryce go through both the PC and the Future Games Show. I'm not a monster. But there's some interesting stuff. There's some interesting stuff. They talked about this Naraka Blade Point, which is like a melee. It's a Chinese-developed melee battle royale game. I saw it a little bit at a different show earlier. Which seems like an interesting concept, because I don't know that there really is a melee battle royale game at the moment. And so kind of combining that with all the Wuxia stuff is kind of cool.
Yeah, I almost I couldn't get it. I must have missed when they said battle royale, because I was ignoring all of the text, which was sucking their entire dick about how big their playtest was.
Yep.
But I thought this was more like meant to be
an MMO
of Warcraft. Yeah, like an MMO style DPS type of game.
Yeah, but no, it's team-based Wuxia battle royale melee. They had a test, and apparently they did very well in their test. It looks fine. Like, this is one of those ones where I'm like, call me when it comes to consoles. I'm not interested in playing a battle royale on the PC. I don't know. You got Chivalry 2 post-content stuff. Chivalry 2 is amazing. I really like Chivalry 2 a lot, which is surprising to me. Raw Man was interesting because it is Splatoon. It is a full-on Splatoon ripoff, and I didn't realize it until somebody in my chat pointed it out. Well, when you look at it, it's like these guys are doing their thing, and then they wrangle your taste buds, and as they do their attacks, they're coloring the battlefield different colors. I don't know, maybe it's not fully Splatoon, but like then there's like an arena here where the guy's literally rolling a ball to make the arena different colors in different places. So which is not bad. I mean, making a Splatoon ripoff for PC is, Splatoon's fun. So, but
there is a Splatoon ripoff for PC.
Is there?
Yeah, it's like a Ninja Guys. There's like a little. It's Ninja Guys. There is one. I thought this was more like a mini game, like arena, sort of like what was that, like Fusion Frenzy kind of macro multiplayer battle games. Like I couldn't tell what type of game this was, so I kind of assumed it was like a party variety pack.
I don't know. It could very well be, and it's just that the leaving trails of colors is confusing me. But
because there is part of it that looks exactly like Splatoon. You're right.
Yeah, I don't know. In any case, Raw Man is also a good title. It's very clever, and I liked it. You were talking about, we did see a Dying Light 2 trailer. I've watched so much about Dying Light 2 recently that I'm just put it out. Dying Light 1 was great. Dying Light 1 was amazing. Hell Raid was amazing. Put out Dying Light 2 already. Come on, do it.
And I don't know how much of this is, I guess, maybe PR work just to kind of remind people that the game is still being made, and whatever the scandal was with that game is in the rear view. I could not really watch this video because I could not tell what part of it was a trailer and what was this guy talking.
Yep.
Dying Light 2.
Dying Light 2. We got Humankind with Frankie, one of the hosts, as you mentioned.
Of course, the Frankie Ward AI persona, Jeff.
Which was,
Come on.
I don't know. Humankind is like, again, it's like trying to have a really bombastic trailer for Civilization, so it's kind of hard. I did like this They Always Run trailer. That it was interesting because this trailer started with like a really bad animation, like a really, to me, like lo-fi, low rent, just not very good animation of this guy running, and then he turns this other guy and he's the badass, he's got a gun. But then the actual gameplay is this kind of 2D action adventure, tossing people around. The guy's got a kind of a fistful of dollars, Clint Eastwood like poncho on. It's kind of sci-fi dustiness. I liked it. I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah, that just went kind of past me. Cool. Slash guys and side scrolling.
Yep. I think a lot of this gets into a problem where they start by the PC gaming show. You've been overwhelmed with so many fucking trailers that it's just like, I was talking to you before this started, where I had a hard time watching this live because my brain was just like, okay, well, that looks cool. Here's another thing. Like they had the Orcs Must Die 3 trailer, which I've never played Orcs Must Die. It seemed fine. It seemed like another version of Orcs Must Die. Then they also had the Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song, which I think, I could be mistaken about this, but I think that so Vampire's gotten like a big push, kind of like Warhammer, because there's like the Vampire the Masquerade 2. There is a 4-player PvE vampire game, I believe, also coming out that was announced somewhere else.
Right, Bloodlines, a sequel to Bloodlines,
something like that. But then this one, I feel like this is their Life is Strange game, where it's like a narrative focused thing. I thought, I could be mistaken, but those are totally the vibes that I get from this very kind of like moody, story heavy trailer. I don't know. It's interesting because I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. I've never been into the vampire universe before, so I'm not like, I can't even make a educated guess. I guess I could always go look it up, but I ain't got time for that.
They're long games. You can't get me with your new thing.
Yep. Come
on. But I had not considered that being a Life is Strange style narrative game, and that makes a little more sense to what we saw.
Gigabash is War of the Monsters from the Neo Geo, but looking better. Matt Frank, friend of the show, constant co-host, did some work on this because he's the big kaiju man. But this looks fun. I don't know. It looks pretty fun. Not a lot to it.
A cute battle arena game.
Yep. Let's see. Lemnis Gate. You have to explain what Lemnis Gate is. There's actually another game that does the same thing where you it's like a first-person shooter where when you die, the whole thing loops back 25 seconds and you start over again. And then you go through and your copies are having the same fight, but then you can actually save the copies of yourself in another run. So every 25 seconds it loops back again, which is kind of crazy. And I think that if you wanted to show me this game, Is that
what this game is?
Yeah, that's what Lemnis Gate is. Yeah. You didn't get any of that, right? You didn't get none of that from that trailer. No. It looked like Lawbreakers 2.
Yeah, it looked like a shooter game that they draped literally any story over so they could have a space shooter. What the fuck?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Which I think it's also coming to the Xbox, but I don't know. Let's see. After that, we got Next Space Rebels, which appears to be like a kind of punk rock Kerbal Space Program I like this
I
one.
loved this.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. This is really cool looking. It's like being a YouTuber doing doing Kerbal in real life. I'm assuming that like this is what the game is, where you're building crazy rockets and then you're trying to launch them, and it actually looks like a YouTube, like it actually looks like video.
Yeah.
With like all of the launch things that they've got on like the SpaceX stuff. Like if this is what the game is, like this is fucking cool, man.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. It's got like a fake YouTube in it. Yeah, you're right, where it's got all the different kind of like camera filters to make it look like you're using like a VHS camera to film it. Real kind of punk rock DIY stuff, and then like fake message boards and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I'm 100% in.
Like the promise from this trailer that you can go from like a garage YouTuber to like actually launching something into orbit or into space, like that's pretty cool. Like I really don't like how aimless Kerbal is, and I think that this is like a really interesting way to take another swing at it.
Yeah. War Tales is generic as hell. This is okay. There's an old PC game called Darklands where it's like very gritty, very realistic squad based medieval combat where you've got to like deal with food and supplies and stuff like that. And that is exactly what this looks like. And this very much appeals to some folks, but not really to me all that much.
I didn't think that I would like it at first, and until I saw it I thought it would be I thought it would be like an RTS game, but it's a Fallout game. It's an old
tactics
point and click. It's a tactics, Fallout game, which I'd give it a shot.
Yep,
looks neat.
Ixion was very strange. This guy doing his Elon Musk for a little while, and then a spaceship warps away from the Earth and trashes the moon, and I don't know what this game is. So,
it went through. I thought he blew up I thought he intentionally shot the moon.
I got the impression
that it certainly makes more sense. That
it's like because everybody's like watching this countdown at like this big event, and that the ship is near the moon, and then when it hits one, it's like it goes into like warp drive or something, and then there's a big flash, and the camera guy falls down, and when he looks back up, there's a giant like you could see like where the ship would have left, but there's a big hole in the moon. I don't know what it is. I like holes in the moon though, so.
Yeah, my guess is that's gonna be a narrative game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be a narrative, more mystery game. Not knowing literally anything about it, I can see the story in my head. Oh my gosh, the rocket was like 100,000 times more strong. How did it happen? And then you do like a Tales of the Borderland type of thing.
Nope.
Assuming I'm right.
I'm not. I'm looking for like any actual gameplay, but there's a boss in Returnal called Ixion, and so, yep, nope, not getting any of it.
No idea.
Let's see. Far Changing Tides. I'm really excited for because Far Lone Sails was a great game that I loved quite a bit. Which for anybody who doesn't remember, Far Lone Sails is where you got like this big kind of the land sail ship where it's like a rolling ship made out of junk in kind of a post-apocalyptic land where you put like a big sail up and then it rolls and it's very stylized, and you have to go inside and do little mini games to keep it working. You'll stop every so often and like look for supplies and stuff. This one seems to be kind of similar. This little girl has like a giant kind of wooden ship type of thing that they're trying to kind of move along. But yeah, I like the first one quite a bit, so I'll give this one a shot.
Cool.
Let's see. Lakeburg Legacies appears to just be a game about like hooking people up with other people and having the babies, and then I don't know what you do besides that. Like the trailer was very much based on like get these two people together and then like they'll have the babies, then another person, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I am kind of excited about this is what is the other game that recently came out where like you have a lot of freedom in picking your character, and you can have a baby be the king, and you know, it's a lot about your bloodlines and marrying and wars and stuff. Like, I've been interested in that game and very like not interested in any sort of combat layer or anything. So if this is a version of that where like you are kind of doing, you know, medieval style, I don't know, family management, but without like, instead of a combat layer having this visual novel layer, like the Yogg or like
I was just thinking about that.
Prom.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's that.
Oh, it's just like a medieval dating simulator, kind of.
Maybe that would. I mean, we see there's a little bit that you see that is a visual novel portion in the trailer that they showed off. So I would bet it's something like that.
I'm trying to figure out the name of that game because I know that it's on Game Pass. It was like Kingdoms or something like that.
Kingdom Come, I think.
No, that was a different one. That was the first person action one, Kingdom Come Deliverance. Anyway, Xbox being a jerk. I'll figure it out. Let's see. Killing Floor 2 had their yearly, like, here's a bunch of Killing Floor 2 content that's happening. I salute Tripwire for continuing to have Killing Floor 2 be a thing after all this time. There's a big developer interview with about MechWarrior 5. Silt was kind of felt like an underwater Limbo, where it was like a very kind of black and white, very moody, like you can take control of fish, like you can inhabit a fish or something. I don't know exactly what's going on in here, but it seems like it had a lot of like a lot of heart, a lot of like kind of. It looked interesting. It looked neat and different. It reminded me of that insanely twisted Shadow Planet a little bit, which was that weird like UFO Metroidvania where everything was black and then there was like a colored background.
I kind of remember that. Yeah, like this looks nice. This looks fine.
Crusader Kings 3. That was the name of that.
Crusader Kings. That's it. That's exactly it.
Let's see. We got Hello Neighbor 2, which is still a thing, still a trailer. The end. Ooh. Jurassic World Evolution 2, we've been seeing kind of the same trailer over and over again. This was announced, I believe, like right before I recorded last week's podcast. Jeff Goldblum's in there doing the narration. Jeff Goldblum confirmed.
Is this a sequel to the Dinosaur Park Simulator, or is this like an action game?
No, okay. It's the park simulator.
Okay, cool.
We had a really brief montage with New Blood where they tried to make a silly joke. New Blood, the makers of Dusk and what was that one? Faith was the one that Jason and I played. Unfortunate Spacemen, Amid Evil, and then Gloomhaven, which is kind of their thief game. Have you never played any of these games? Some
of the first ones you mentioned sounded like games I had heard of. Mm-hmm. The rest of these, no, these are I'm blind to these.
And Fallen Aces, which is like this very much this like very 2D mobster, like you're. It reminds me of what was that? Void Bastards, right? The way that it was just like a front side back sprite type of thing, but it's like mobsters and you're punching them, and it's got a real kind of like. Kind of combo throwing stuff, almost like a first-person version of Hotline Miami from the trailers. And then Gloomwood is their thief simulator, which is like a very... It's interesting. They had a whole joke in this, though, where they were like talking to the guys from New Blood, and then they were like, I'm going to have to cut you off. Gabe Newell's on the other line, and he's got to tell us something specific, so we got to cut you off. And the guy's like, oh, you motherfuckers, you've done this to me for the last time, blah, 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 blah. And then Gabe Newell comes out and basically announces like another, you know how on Steam they've been having those things like, you know, right now, like during the PC Gaming Show, where you can go download a demo. Well, they're just having a formal like event with Steam where it's like, oh, you can go download all these demos for these upcoming games on Steam, and that's what Gabe Newell is here to announce.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm surprised that they don't. I kind of, yeah, that's okay, yeah.
I actually opened Steam.
I've never used it, but I've never used any of those, but I thought they figured it out.
I opened Steam to try to figure it out. It's a terrible AI. It's so clunky and fucked up, and it's so hard to use. Yeah. Yeah, that game, that one that you saw, that was Faith, which Jason and I played last Halloween. Which there's 2 parts of it, and there's a 3rd part coming out. So, let's see. Solstice is a generic third-person action game. It's very forgettable. There's a Warhammer Chaos Gate, which is just a cinematic trailer for some kind of Warhammer game. There's so fucking many Warhammer games that who can even say. This one appears to be Space Marines fighting Chaos. There was a brief EVE Online thing. Just, hey, EVE Online is a thing. Pioneer was another Eastern European first-person shooter with monsters and various things. I want you to, though, briefly, I don't know if you got a chance to see this particular trailer, Bryce, but so when you look at the screen that I've got here, do you notice where the subtitles are for this game?
Oh, they're oh my goodness. They are 6-point font. They are not even white on black. They are medium gray on black. They are so tiny, and they hug the very bottom of the screen.
Yep.
They look like a watermark. They look like they're telling you that your HyperCam 2 is not registered, dude. And this can't be like the way it's gonna be, right? That's not what it's gonna look like, right?
And this whole trailer is very narrative focused, and I didn't even realize until I was 20% through that there were even subtitles to read.
Safe zones, people.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You can't even. It's so small. You can't even. I'm not that far away from oh my God.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay.
Anyway, it's fine. Lumber Hill is like a weird multiplayer, doing stuff game where you're carrying around like
Stardew Valley.
And it's like you're carrying around dinosaurs and you're trying to capture the other guy's things, and it's not entirely clear from this trailer exactly what the hell is going on.
It looks like a Mario Party minigame. It looks like a minigame board game thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that. Oh my God, I can't even find it. There we go. It's fine. It looks like it's like a game that I would pull up for consideration on Rage Select, and it's like, oh, is it just a multiplayer party game? I don't want to play that.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can remember these. Arborea was
Jeff, I looked on the side of the screen. I did not like how little progress we've made.
No. We're
God, there's so many fucking games.
We're trust me, we are close to done here. This is one of those infinite scrolling pages. We're close to being done. Arborea is some kind of real-time action game, a third-person action game. It looks very generic. This is the part where your brain starts tuning out. There is a game called Tinykin, which actually looks pretty fun, and it's basically like the conception of it is that you're very, very small, but then you have a bunch of Pikmin, and it's basically just Pikmin. All the characters are 2D, but they're like these 3D worlds that are like our world, and you got to figure out how to get around and do stuff. So Tinykin,
that's cool, yeah,
not so bad. Let's see, Chernobyl Light is, I believe, the 4th Eastern European first-person shooter. This one has base building, but it is also there's the zone.
You got gas masks in this one.
Yeah,
they've gas masks in this one, Jeff.
Don't go in the zone, and there's a lot of weird stuff, and there's a heist, and it's very serious, and the end. Let's see. Sacrifier looks like a generic JRPG that has a very similar style to that one that we saw at Microsoft, where it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of a 2D characters and then voxel-ish backgrounds and a little bit of weird depth of field fuckery to make it seem like it's all cohesive. This has a lot of apparently pedigree of people doing stuff, but again, this is the second one of these I've seen today, and this is one of those things where if you showed me a 2-minute trailer that had like a voiceover explaining what the story was, I could probably get more interested in it. There was a brief trailer for Icarus to remind you that's still a thing. That's the one from the guy that made DayZ that they announced last year, where it's like very limited runs of resource gathering, where like there'll be certain points where you can like leave with the resources that you've got, but if you stay longer, you have a chance to gain more, but it's got like a permadeath element, so if you die on the run, you can't respawn into the run. So kind of like imagine a Minecraft DayZ type of thing, but like run based instead of continual. So you're building like a very quick like, okay, you build the base, I'm gonna go get the things that we need to complete this checklist. If any of these guys come, let me know and we'll come back and help to defend the home base, and then eventually you lift off at a certain point. So
that's strange. That's interesting. I've not heard of a game like that, but I think that's really fascinating. Like almost, is it endless where you're like prestiging, or are you just doing runs?
I don't
like
think
a Gungeon game.
I don't think it's gotten that far yet. The big thing that stood out, I think it was last year when they announced it, was the idea that you would be setting up a multiplayer instance where you were expected to play for like 2.5 or 3 hours. But you can adjust that, so you can get like low runs that are like 20 minutes in and out, or you can get ones that are really long that give you a lot more resources. But then, since the death is permanent, like you take a lot more risk because it's harder to complete. Kind of to me, I feel like a fusion of like Rust and DayZ and a few other things, but I'm so sad because like Mecha Jammer was like one of the things I'm most excited about from E3 2021. It's this this isometric. No, this isn't the one. Oh. This is the one that I get confused.
This is another pixel one
with Death Trash. So this one looks okay. It's like you've got a squad and you're kind of going around and this isometric pixel-based thing doing some kind of weird futuristic kind of. It reminds me of Syndicate a little bit, but somewhat more interesting.
But it's real time. It's real time on a grid. Okay. Huh.
It appears to just.
It looks interesting too. Like it's got a really cool style.
Yeah. Let's see. And then we're like 3, 4, 5 maybe for being done. Wandering. There's this one that had a very brief trailer called Wandering City, where it appears to be some kind of city management, but you're on the back of a giant creature that's just like continuously walking around in the world. At the very end, they zoom all the way out to show like a map where you can see moving into like weather and stuff like that. Seems like it'd be interesting. This next one, though, this is Death Trash, and I want to play Death Trash so bad because it looks like this. It's a pixel-based thing. It's got some kind of Eldritch stuff. It's got some real, to me, like Fallout vibes, kind of fallen world. There's a point where you throw up and then pick it up. The action is very like... It's one of those games that I can see having a really good time with because there's like a very much an inventory with some RPG systems, and then but then the combat is very just kind of like isometric, but then clicking on stuff and shooting at stuff, and it's got a lot of crazy style going on to it. I really dig this one. Stood out to me even when I was tired of watching trailers at the end of the day. So I don't know. There's just something about it that reminds me of the sorts of games that I end up playing for really extended periods because it's easy to get lost in a run and then finish it and be like, okay, one more time, and then it's 3:00 in the morning. So
yeah, this I would like to know more about this, because at first I thought this kind of you like you mentioned, this does have like a an old school Fallout kind of aesthetic, and then like seeing there's like real time gunplay, but then like inventory and RPG elements. I'd like to learn more about this.
Yep. And then let's see. Song of Conquest is basically like Heroes of Might and Magic. I think this was actually announced previously. This is being done by Coffee Stain. So it's very Heroes of Might and Magic. Build up your base, set up your guys, have a battle. I never got into Heroes of Might and Magic, but I mean, this looks like a worthy successor. Again, doing the pixel guys and then slightly pixelated 3D backgrounds. Very very hot right now. Let's see. Citizen Sleeper actually looked pretty cool, which was this kind of like futuristic game that appeared to have a kind of dice based, like trying to overthrow an authoritarian kind of system, but then there's like a space stuff going on. And then you've got these different like dice rolls that are at the top that you kind of slot in. It kind of reminded me of Tharsis was the game.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's not the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, you're doing it's like a space version of Dicey Dungeons. If people don't know Tharsis, because I think people maybe don't know Tharsis, unfortunately.
Yep.
Or I think it's a little older, but like, okay. I mean, I like it. I liked this exact thing in Tharsis, like.
And I like the aesthetic. It's very kind of clean, futuristic, but then I like the characters are all hand drawn and very kind of gritty. And finally, we got the Project Warlock 2 teaser trailer. Project Warlock is fun. I played it on the channel. It's very kind of old Hexen style. This is actually a trailer for their Kickstarter, though. They haven't even successfully kickstarted their game. So.
Oh, and this is the showstopper?
This is the end. This is the end. This is the one last thing. So, I mean, I spared you all the parts where they were voting on which Mech Warrior custom case we are going to be building based on your feedback from you, the audience, or the part at the end where the co-host bot overthrows him because he's tired of being the co-host and crashes their GeForce 3000 series spaceship into the Earth. It's stupid.
Yeah,
it's bad stuff.
I'm glad I unsubscribed to the E3. I'm like, we think this is the unnecessary stuff. Like, this is, I don't know, man. Is this better than all this stuff being on the floor in LA and then we don't have to sit through all of them? It's so much. It's so weird. It felt like maybe it's just because there are so many fucking indie games in this one, but it was like a lot of fucking games, especially after last year where there were none.
Well, so I have a theory, and we can wrap up on this, is that so many of the quote unquote like high profile or instantly recognizable or like very eye-catching or attention-catching indie games, I feel like, are now getting picked up. We talked about some of them in the Xbox showcase. You know, things like that. The one from the Inside guy, right? Whatever it was called. But there was stuff in the Xbox show that could have been in this PC gaming show, or like in years past, I would expect Back 4 Blood maybe to be like a big thing in the PC show. But because of the new consoles, so much of this stuff, Party Animals, right, should have been in the PC gaming show. Somerville, you know, some of this stuff should have been in the PC gaming show, but because so much of it is now integrated into these brand deals, even if it's just mostly Xbox, because usually it'd be Xbox and but Nintendo also as well had some indie stuff that I feel like, and not just that, but like, again, the Future Game Show had some other really strong competitors, and then the day before, first there was the Summer of Arcade or whatever kickoff, the Jeff Keighley's Summer of Jeff Keighley.
Oh yeah, the Hell season.
Yeah, and then there's a 90-minute wholesome direct thing that was just nothing but like the cute indie games, like a whole separate one. And so I think that the problem with the PC gaming show this year is that they tried to do quantity instead of quality, because so many of the high profile things that you would really get people to tune in for were elsewhere, and that's what they are keep trying to do. They keep trying to pretend like what they're doing is the Microsoft conference but for PC gaming, but that's not a thing, because you know, the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy game is on everything, right? Like the Mech Warrior 5 is on Game Pass, for fuck's sake. Like, their sponsor for this show, I downloaded for free on my Xbox Series X because it's totally there. And so the idea of like, then what do you get as your big show-stopping exclusive? And yeah, maybe Warlock 2 is the best that you can do.
I think more likely than not is that they know the size of the show that they put on. They know what its position is relative to a Microsoft or like I think that they know that this is a focused on smaller games, new developers or small interesting twists on stuff. Like, yes, it certainly feels a little more quality over quantity, but also like PC Gamer does not make games, you know. Like,
True.
This is a way to kind of, this is another conveyor belt on, you know, the promotion engine that we're all a part of. It seems, and I'm sure the developers and publishers who are part of this know that, like, yeah, they couldn't quite make it to the Microsoft one, but someone will watch the PC gaming one. Like, it's, I have to imagine that it's as pragmatic and simple as that.
Yeah. I also, though, it's funny, though, too, because as we were talking and I was thinking about it, the other thing that I wish, which I never thought would have come out of my mouth at any point in time, is that for this one in particular, as we get to the end of it, I wish they'd slow down. I wish that they had...
These are all short, fast trailers, yeah.
I wish that they had said, like when I was explaining Lemnis Gate to you, and it's like the trailer didn't tell you any of that at all, right? Or like when we're saying, like, well, what happens in the what was the one with the distracted girlfriend meme, the Lakeburg Legacies, right? Yeah, like why don't you?
We saw some of it, but it doesn't feel like we got a full circle on what it is,
right? Or I could have spent 2 minutes watching gameplay for Death Trash, to get more information on it. And so the fact that it was just so rapid fire trailers, and that they actually did do some of that, but it was like with the guys from MechWarrior 5, and it wasn't the ones that I was the most interested in. So I don't know.
I mean, and it's strange because I'm still stuck on the frame of mind that I have for this show, but I think if they can tell developers, hey, trailers under 2 minutes, we got to keep this rapid, because then you get to say we're going to debut 40 world premieres or however many
right.
New jumping on the scenes. These are like, that's how they're going to get, that is how you would get people to watch something like this PC Gamer show, which is you're going to get a lot of at-bats for something you might like and could be a surprise. And that I think that's what it is.
Okay. Well, that's all. That was so much.
Are we
but
done?
We're
Are
done.
we free?
Well, no. Okay. Let me put it this way. You're done.
Wait, I'm done.
I got like 8 more conferences to do. So thank you so much, Bryce. Tell the people where they can find you if they don't already know.
You can find me on Twitter at Brycas, BRYCAS, and check out the website marbles.win. We've been doing Marbles on Stream is a video game, and we've kind of built our own proprietary layer on top, and it's a fun sort of community. But check it out, and we're doing Marbles every other Friday on twitch.tv/nightattack. So come out and check us out.
Cool. And tomorrow I'll be back too with another 65 conferences. There's a lot of video games. I'm going to talk about them.
We haven't even had the PlayStation one yet, Jeff.
There isn't a PlayStation 1. Happy 3. Bye.
It's been 15 years since the fall. The city is a corpse, and we are the worms. We burrow in it, fighting for every useful piece of land to preserve ourselves from the terrors of the night and the horrors of the day.
I know not who can hear my voice. I shall therefore speak a word unto hear. Anyone who dares to steal food will be hanged, and their bodies will be exposed.
Every day we rise from dust to choose between bad and worse.
Get him! You're dead now!
And these choices we take to survive will create the world to come.